Zion National Park in Utah has some of the most jaw-dropping views and spectacular hikes in America. Massive sandstone cliffs tower over the valley floor, and narrow slot canyons hug the river below. Whether you're an adventure seeker or a casual hiker, there's something to do for everyone in this incredible park. In this video, we're going to cover some of the top sights and attractions in Zion National Park. That includes the best scenic drives, most picturesque overlooks, thrilling hiking trails, and cascading waterfalls that you cannot miss. Hike to the top of Angel's Landing. One of the most famous and frightening trails in Zion National Park is the hike to Angel's Landing. Dubbed one of the scariest hikes in America, the route rises 1,500 feet above the canyon floor in just 5.4 miles. Hikers will face steep and narrow trails as well as exposure on both sides. It all begins at shuttle stop number 6 with a leisurely stroll across the Virgin River. From there, you'll take the West Rim Trail up a set of cool and shaded switchbacks in an area known as Refrigerator Canyon. Enjoy the breeze, because the next part is the hardest. The Walters Wiggles section includes 21 tight switchbacks that rise 250 feet in a quarter mile. At the top of Walters Wiggles is Scout's Lookout. This is the last chance to turn around for anyone with a fear of heights. As you reach the summit, there's a series of chains to help guide you along the final stretch known as the Spine. In the end, you'll be rewarded with a bird's eye view of the valley below. Most visitors take about 4 to 5 hours to complete this hike, and the best time to conquer it is during the spring and fall. Challenge the Narrows. If you're looking for something a little closer to the ground, get ready to challenge the Narrows. This is one of the longest and most strenuous hikes in the region, and it's located all the way at the northern side of the park at the base of a narrow slot canyon. What makes this hike unique is the fact that it goes in the river for much of its length. You heard that correctly. In the river, not just alongside it. Bring some waterproof boots and expect to get wet. You can hike all 16 miles of the Narrows as a multi-day trip, or do a shorter out and back section like most tourists. Make sure to check the weather before you go. Water flow rates determine the depth and difficulty of the hike, and with heavy rains, there's a potential for flash flooding. If the weather is poor, consider hiking on the Riverside Walk, which is a paved and easy path. Visit Kolob Canyon. Most people have heard of Angel's Landing and the Narrows, but if you want to travel to one of the lesser-known areas of the park, Kolob Canyon is the place to go. This is the most remote and least visited area of Zion, so it's a great way to experience isolated hiking trails, towering arches, and cascading waterfalls without the crowds. The highlight of this location is the subway section of Kolob Canyon. It's a tubular slot canyon where you can go hiking or canyoneering next to waterfalls, past boulders, and through emerald pools. Swimming and rappelling are not necessary when exploring the subway from the bottom up, but you will get wet. Be prepared to spend the entire day exploring. The hike starts at the Left Fork trailhead and begins with an easy walk before turning into a steep downward trek through loose rock and sand. The most photographed area is the lower subway, a short section of emerald pools, shallow potholes, and carved tunnel walls. Take your time to admire the glistening water and consider cooling off with a swim. Hike to the overlooks. Angel's Landing is popular for its sky-high views, but Observation Point is actually higher in elevation and has more picturesque views of the valley. There are 2 ways to get to Observation Point, via the Weeping Rock Trail or using the East Mesa Trailhead, which is only 3.3 miles long. Contending with Observation Point is the Canyon Overlook, where you get the most dramatic views in the park. The Canyon Overlook Trail is only half a mile long and protected by railings, so it's the perfect hike to do with kids or family members with a fear of heights. Go for a scenic drive. If there's anything that visitors to Zion National Park must see, it's the incredible Zion Canyon. Fortunately, this road is difficult to miss. The 54-mile route takes about 1.5 hours to drive and winds past towering cliffs on either side. Many of Zion National Park's top attractions are found along this road, including the West Temple, the East Temple, the Court of Patriarchs, Zion Lodge, Weeping Rock, the Temple of Sinawaya, and the Zion Human History Museum. With a combination of gorgeous sights and flexibility, the Scenic Drive is worth enjoying all on its own. Aside from the shuttle service, cyclists can also bike along the Zion Canyon Scenic Drive. While the Zion Canyon Scenic Drive is undoubtedly the heart of the park, the Zion Mount Carmel Highway is a scenic path in its own right. The difference between the two is that the Scenic Drive passes low through the canyons, while the highway heads up the cliffs to offer dramatic views. One of the highlights of this road is a narrow tunnel that stretches over a mile long, where you'll have ample opportunity to see the inside of the enormous natural rock formations. Hike along the valley floor. If you're looking for a tamer way to view the park, there are numerous short trails along the valley floor which are scenic and easy to hike. The Emerald Pool Trails is one of the most beautiful hikes in the park. It's a short, 2.2-mile hike that takes you past 3 gorgeous waterfalls that cascade down to the slippery rocks below. The Perouse Trail is a gentle, paved path with very little elevation gain that takes about 2 hours round trip. This hike goes from the visitor center near the entrance to Canyon Junction. This is one of the few paths in Zion National Park that's open to pets, so it's a great place to exercise the pup after a long drive. There are plenty of things to do in Zion National Park, from breathtaking overlooks to dangerous hikes and relaxing scenic drives. Tourists should plan to spend several days exploring everything the park has to offer.